C-244.
On debate, Senator Deakin, Nova Scotia.
Thank you, Speaker. Colleagues, I rise today as friendly critic to Bill C-294, an act to amend the Copyright Act interoperability . We received this bill last June, and its progress so far is thanks to the important work of its sponsor, MP Jeremy Patzer from Saskatchewan, and Senator Housakos in this chamber. As I mentioned a few moments ago when I was speaking to C-244, C-244 and 294 address the unintended consequences that have emerged in the application of copyright law following the rapid increase in digitization of all of our appliances, machines, devices, and tools. Both bills relate to the unintended use of technological protection measures, or TPM, specifically in ways that have resulted in increased costs and other challenges that are particularly harmful to consumers, farmers, fishers, and small business. I don't want to repeat the background on TPMs that I just provided in my sponsor speech for Bill C-244. You likely don't want me to repeat it either. Suffice to say, a TPM is a digital lock. In the case of interoperability, a TPM prevents the seamless transfer of data, essentially rendering a replacement device or piece of equipment unusable because it cannot communicate with other devices. So let's focus on the importance of interoperability, how this bill is intended to enhance interoperability between devices, and what possible concerns might result. Why does interoperability matter? Our lives are filled with connected devices. Our wristwatch is connected to our smartphone, telling us how many steps we take each day, our heart rate, and countless other things. Our smartphone wirelessly connects to our car's screen and sound system, allowing us to play podcasts, take calls, and find our way. We increase or reduce the temperature in our home or a given room without even being in the house or that room, or change a song that's playing without getting out of our chair. We can even see who's ringing the doorbell when we're not home, or even if we're not in the country. The whole world is known, this world is known as the Internet of Things, or IoT. But not every manufacturer is playing fair when it comes to this connected IoT world. Let me put this in the most basic terms in order to explain the importance of interoperability. Just imagine that every time you bought a different brand of laptop, you also had to buy a new printer, new cables, new desktop screen, new headphones, because your old ones would not connect to your new brand of laptop because of TPMs or unique cable connectors. Imagine having a printer in your home that only worked with the laptop, but not any other computer or mobile device in your home. A world without interoperability would fill our life with hassles, costs, and waste. This is an example of the physical barriers that emerge when interoperability is not universally enabled. Simply, life is improved when barriers to interoperability are removed. Bill C-294 is designed to stop the Copyright Act from being used to prevent interoperability as a result of the unintended use of TPMs or digital locks. I want to be clear. The bill's application is limited to making devices, software, and other data interoperable in situations where TPMs have been used in an unintended manner. Just like Bill C-244, Bill C-294 does not protect any act that may constitute copyright infringement under the Copyright Act. Now, I'd like to take the opportunity to address some of the main concerns raised in committee around Bill C-294. First, Bill C-294 would create more risks to intellectual property through the circumvention of TPMs. This is not true. In fact, the Copyright Act already allows for interoperability, but it is only limited to making two computer programs interoperable. However, as an ICET official said in committee, quote, with the growing number of software products that include TPMs, such as agricultural equipment, achieving interoperability may require more than just making two computer programs interoperable, end quote. This bill would therefore expand on the existing interoperability permissions to allow compatibility of information from third-party add-ons without compromising core intellectual property. This means that for the big companies who are concerned about their proprietary or unique software, The legal system is still strong enough to prevent piracy or other illegal breaches of information. This bill therefore ensures that proprietary software remains protected, which is crucial for Canada's trade and IP agreements, including CUSMA. This leads me to the next concern raised about the bill, specifically whether it would jeopardize Canada's international trade agreements and obligations. This is a valid concern, as it's crucial that we remain a reliable partner by complying with global standards. Again, we were reassured in committee that this bill aligns with CUSMA. In fact, the House's Indu Committee accepted amendments from the government to ensure that the bill was in line with CUSMA and other trade agreements, ensuring that we maintain our international obligations while empowering our domestic industries, such as farmers and agricultural equipment manufacturers, that would greatly benefit from this bill. Lastly, there have been concerns that C-294 presents a piecemeal approach to legislative reform, rather than a comprehensive overhaul of the Copyright Act. I agree that a more comprehensive review is necessary to fully address modern-day challenges of copyright in the digital era. However, this bill is a step very much in the right direction. We were assured by a department official that, of the support for this bill as it aligns with the minister's mandate and the government's ongoing consultations on interoperability. The question of whether this bill goes far enough also came up in the committee's deliberations. Professor Alyssa Sativani from the University of Western Ontario, from Western University, showing my age, who is also a respected researcher in this field, suggests that the legislation does not go far enough in mandating interoperability. In a brief that she submitted to committee, she argued that, and I quote, "The government should implement comprehensive legislation that mandates repair, interoperability, and durability, bracket called RID, durability by design. It should create programs, policies, and initiatives that empower consumers, businesses, and institutions to increase efficiency and reduce waste through RID." Other jurisdictions, most notably the EU, are leading by example in interoperability by design, an example being the recent adoption of USB-C as a universal standard for charging devices. When asked about the bill's limitations, an ISED official acknowledged that while the federal government cannot directly enforce product standards, which often fall under provincial jurisdiction, this bill would also not prevent any future advancements in Canada's interoperability framework. He emphasized that the Copyright Act would not hinder the progress of new developments and interoperability standards, and this is important to ensure that the Copyright Act supports rather than impedes technological advancements. Colleagues, Bill C-294 represents a crucial opportunity to create more competitive and innovative Canadian economy. It would unlock further opportunities for Canadian innovators to develop technologies that are compatible with existing platforms. It would also allow Canada to bring Canada up to par with our major trading partners like the United States and the EU, leveling the playing field for our businesses and fostering a healthy competitive environment. I congratulate MP Jeremy Patzer on tabling Bill C-294. I very much support this bill, and I hope you will too, and encourage the Chamber to call the question. Thank you, colleagues.
Senator Usakos, you had a question? And Senator?
Absolutely. Thank you, Senator Deakin, for your work on this and being a critic on C-294. I also compliment you on the work you've done on C-244. These are two bills that are intrinsically intertwined and interrelated. They both have overwhelming support from the House of Commons. The critics have spoken on both these bills. The sponsors have spoken on these bills. Is there any reason both of these bills shouldn't pass immediately?
Senator Deakin, Nova Scotia.
With the willingness of colleagues in the Chamber, I completely agree with you, and I would love it if we did that. Because Parliament is very tenuous at this time, and this is work that has been ongoing for years in our own Parliament, and progress has been made around the world. So thank you, Senator Hatsakos, for the question. There's every win here for Canadian consumers. I don't know that there's a lot more to debate. And it's something that I really hope we could get to a third reading vote and get royal assent on these bills. Thank you.
Senator Brewer.
Here, I'd like to ask a question. Senator Deacon, will you take it?
Absolutely, Senator Beery.
Thank you, Senator Deacon, for all the work that you have done. As a physician, I want to bring my perspective to this issue because I had the misfortune of trying to change electronic medical records, and there was lack of interoperability with these EMRs, led to significant issues: patient safety, lack of coordination, repeating of one's medical history and over, burnout in the medical profession. Can you speak to this and to the increasing costs that this leads to?
Senator Deacon, Nova Scotia.
Thank you, Senator Beery. It amazes me the extent to which companies that exercise monopolistic power can have a negative effect on the lives of millions of people around the world on a daily basis. And I'm a big believer in competition. I believe competition moves the world ahead. It provides consumers with more innovative, cost-efficient services, businesses as well. So I can only imagine when you get into space where the margins are so significant, like in healthcare, and where recurring revenue is so relied upon, if we don't help consumers and business and governments in Canada to ensure that manufacturers are competing fairly, not putting up artificial barriers, the whole system slows down, everything costs more, and the frustration, the time being spent trying to get around these artificial barriers takes away from the productivity of important services like healthcare. So I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you.